Sandhan. All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.
Namaskar. My name is Wasim Qureshi, Assistant Professor in English at Vishwakarma Government Engineering College. And as you know, today we have to discuss about email writing. Now, very first question comes to our mind, what does it mean by email, electronic mail, as you say, and that is a full form of email. Many thousand years back, when primitive man, Adi Manav lived, even in that situation, they had telecommunication. They expressed their views, their feelings by certain sign language, quotes, pictures. Gradually, when they live apart, they had a kind of system, right, for sending the messages. We know that back in long back past, in past, we had pigeons taking your messages to some recipients, and the receivers will receive the message, they'll send back their messages using pigeons. Even in India, many years back, we had horse riders. They would ride on the horses and they would be the messengers. In that sense, we had telecommunication, Sandesha Vyavhar, that was very unique, identity of any civilization in any age. Recently in India, we had just closed down the tar system, the telegram system. That was the ancient, right? For many years it has been there, and from the world itself, that system has been closed very recently. Now in today's world, when the world is at the tip of the finger, and the world comes to your desktop at a just a click. We are living in highly technological world. That communication, that telecommunication is very fast, and we have internet, right, at our computers. We have internet even in our mobiles. We have internet in tablets, and we have many varieties of applications, advantages and functions out of internet. One of the very important, very frequently and very old one is the email writing. Just by clicking send button, you can send the message to any of the person from anywhere in the world within a second, and that person can reply you in a fraction of a second. So that facility has been here in the world of today's generation. That is blessing for us. Today we have to discuss about the email writing. You know how to write a letter. You have learnt how to write a correct letter from top to bottom, from the beginning of your letter to the end of the letter. There are so many things which you have to keep in your mind. You can have the address of the sender, then you can have date, then you can have name and the address and designation of the receiver, then you can have subject line, then there is salutation, then main body of the letter. It can have many paragraphs. The first paragraphs would talk you about the intention, the middle paragraphs would talk about the real essence of the letter, what they actually want to convey, and then the last paragraph, it will talk about the leave taking. I mean, it will tell you some hope, request, something like that, and then we would have complimentary close. Some occasional parts are also added into that format. But when we think of an email writing, right, keeping the comparison with the letter writing, many things are very parallel, but there are certain things which you should not do when you write emails. In letter writing, basically you have the sender's name and the address. Here the sender's address should not be written, not even the name of the sender, because when you send an email, automatically your email ID, that is your name as well as your address, right, will reach the person, and that person will identify that yes, this person has sent me the mail. So no need to write sender's name and address, at the beginning of the page. The second thing is the recipient's address. Here we have to write recipient's address name designation, right, because it is a letter. Here you can mention the name and the designation, but you should not write the address, because here the address of the recipient is not an address which we generally follow here in letter. Here in email, the address is the person's email ID, email identification. So that is the address. So that will be given when you write to. After to, you have to write the address of that person. When you write a letter, you mention date. We have cardinal style of date, we have British style, we have open punctuation, close punctuation. We have discussed much about that in letter writing. Here in email writings, you don't have to write date. When you click send button, automatically when the email reaches the person, it will reach with exact mention of the exact date as well as the time. It will indicate the hour, minute, and even the second. So that is very important. So you don't have to worry about the date. And the last one, the subject line. Subject line are important in both the letters, whether it is letter writing, whether it is email writing. But in letter writing, you have subject line either before the salutation or after the salutation. But here there is special block, right? There is a rectangle in which you have to write subject line. When I send an email to you, right, it will indicate at your email that Mr. Wasim Qureshi has sent one mail, and it will be highlighted. My subject line will be highlighted, so you can easily understand what is the message would be there in that message, in that email. So these are basically differences between a letter writing and an email writing, right? Now we just go to the essentials of email etiquettes. As you know that email is a short form of electronic mail, and this electronic mail is so much fast that we can say that our regular post mails are considered as snail mail. Snail walks so much slowly. So the post mail, general mail, right, postage mail, they are called snail mail. Electronic mail is very fast, and it has quickly become a communication standard and the internet's most popular application, right? So it has become a communication standard, right? If you ask me about my address, and if I give you my address, basically with address I have to tell you my email ID. If I don't have any email ID, that is considered as I don't know much about internet. And there are so many people, they have email IDs. If they don't know them, if they don't use them, that is also a kind of backwardness in today's world. So when you have email IDs and when you use them and when you communicate with the world using your email IDs, it's very fast, it's very safe, it's very effective. That's why it has become a communication standard. Okay, and as we have discussed that internet provides many other facilities. You can download many things, you can upload many things, you can have videos, you can have texts, you can have animations, you can have many things. But that email writing is the most popular application of internet, right? I believe that maximum of usage of internet is done because of this internet, this email. Now what makes email different? Mockingly, a dog is working on internet and another small dog asks a question, and the big dog says that on the internet nobody knows you are a dog, so you can play with it, right? And that's why I just want to make one very important point. When you prepare your email ID, it should not be like, say hi to me at yahoo.co.in. I repeat, say hi to me, SAY, there is no space, SAYHITOME @ yahoo.co.in. Now, if you have written my email ID on a piece of paper and you have kept that piece of paper somewhere, nobody, or even after some time, you will not be able to identify whose email ID is that, right? But if there is an email ID like this, Wasim_Qureshi @ yahoo.co.in, so Wasim Qureshi, it is already reflected in my email ID. So very easily a person can identify that this email ID belongs to Mr. Wasim Qureshi. That's why on internet, if you have a fake account, nobody can identify you unless that is open up, that is revealed, right? Even on social networking sites, when you prepare your profile, right, you should write your name, your real identity, so your real friends, not fake friends, the real friends can identify you and can come to your friends list. Otherwise it can be, once again a big problem. So nobody knows that you are a dog. That's why I'm working on internet. Yes, when you use internet, especially for email writings, there are so many things which you have to keep in your mind. There are so many do's and there are so many don'ts. So let's have a look at these do's and don'ts. Now there are two questions for which you have to give me the answers. Can you identify the email facility provider or providers? There are four options: yahoo.com, google.com, gmail.com and wikipedia.com. Can you identify the email facility provider? If I go to internet and in the URL space, universal resource locator, when I go there, if I type yahoo.com, can I go for an application? Can I go for a facility in that website which provides me to do email writing? Yes. So yahoo.com is an email facility provider. What about google.com? When you go to google.com, so you can't, right? Because Google is a search engine. If you want to search something, if you want to search for Wasim Qureshi's profile, you can go to google.com, type the name, click on it, and you can have some things which are there on internet for that particular subject or name. So google.com is not a email facility provider. Then we have gmail.com. Yes, okay, it's an email facility provider. And the fourth one is wikipedia.com. So Wikipedia is not a search engine, it's not an email facility provider, but it's a kind of encyclopedia, right? People can add into it, admin can admin it, and then it can be revealed for the world. Now the second question, can you identify the correct email ID? Now say hi to me at Gmail, say hi to me at yahoo_co_in, say hi to me at gmail.com, say hi to me _gmail.com. Now which one is the correct email ID? The third one. Now keep in your mind that @ a with a circle around it is called @ or @ before that you can play with the words. You can say that say.hi.to.me @ it's fine. You can say _hi_to_me, it's fine. You can add some numericals. You can say 4, right? 1 2 3 4, I'm talking about that digit. Hi to me, it's fine. But after @ there must be a proper locator. So yahoo.co.in, that is correct. yahoo.com, that is correct. gmail.com, that is correct. rediffmail.com, that is correct. ymail.com, that is correct. But there you cannot have hyphen, you cannot have any other word. Now the very important when you write an email is you should have a clear purpose in your mind why you are writing that email. Before you type anything into a new message, you should have answers for these 2 questions, right? The question number 1, why am I writing this? What is the intention in your mind? Without any intention, you don't write an email. When you write an email to me, there must be some intention in your mind, right? So first of all, you have to keep that intention, that idea, that motive, that aim, objective clear in your mind. If the objective is clear, you can write up to the mark. You can have clear-cut ideas what you are going to write about, right? And in that sense only you will be able to write exactly. So first question, why am I writing this mail, right? And the second one, that is also very important, what exactly do I want the result of this message to be? So you keep the end of it, the expected end of it, before you write an email. For any kind of process, if you want to make a plan, right, basically you have to keep the end in your mind. When you keep the end in your mind, you can begin very nicely. So here also, when you send an email to me, suppose for any task, you have a kind of an end, expected, desirable end in your mind, that after receiving your mail, I would respond you in that manner. When you apologize for some mistake, right, and when you write an email to your head of the department that this is the mistake which you have done, right, this is the you feel guilty about it, so you can have that end of that correspondence in your mind, that after receiving your mail, your head would respond you positively, he would forgive you, whatever. So these 2 questions should be there in your mind before you start writing your emails. Now you have to write subject line. Subject line should be clear, as we have discussed in letter writing also. It should be very concise. It should be complete in its sense. You should not write like this, hi. And then, the letter or the email would have very important, discussions. But, in subject line you write hi. So when I open my email account and when I see that someone has written email, right, to me, and the subject line says hi, I would take it very easily, that okay, hi, I can read it anytime. But if you write urgent, or I require your help, or something like that, it becomes catchy, it gets your attention. So here you should not write hi or hello, unless you just want to say hi, hello to me or to anybody. If you want to say hello to someone, it's fine. That subject line should have like this: hello from Champak, right? If your name is Champak, or Happy New Year to you, my dear friend Chanchi. So instead of that, be sure to complete the subject line of the email to indicate content. Before a person reads your mail, the person would read your subject line. Keep it in your mind, right? And first impression should be last impression, as you say. I believe that it should be everlasting impression. So the subject line is important in that sense. When you write a letter, even when it is written letter or when it is a printed letter, a person would get the letter, and before he reads the entire paragraph from the letter, he would go to the subject line, what it is about. And if it is attractive for him, if it is interesting for him, if it is applicable to him, he would read further. And if it does not appeal him, if it does not interest him, he or she will not read the letter. So that subject line is very important. It should focus on the content, what the email is about. Mention the purpose or the content title very clearly. It should be very clear. I have written one word, one subject line, MPR from October 2013 from Paldi branch, or MPR of October 2013 from Paldi branch. Now I have to send this mail to my business group, and in my business everybody knows that MPR means monthly progressive report. Or suppose I have to send this mail to my boss, to my manager, right? So he knows that what does it mean by MPR. Now if I write MPR to a person who does not know about the MPR, who does not belong to my own business, who does not know what does it mean by monthly progressive report, it is useless for him. So if I want to send a mail to that person, instead of MPR I would write monthly progressive report. So that person would understand that in the mail it is not MPR. I don't know MPR, what is it? But he would understand that the mail contains some information, some facts, some factual data about monthly progressive report. Got it? But here in my paradigm, in my group, everybody knows the full form of it, and it is MPR for October 2013, and it is from Paldi branch. Now Paldi is a small area in Ahmedabad. It's a big area. It's a big area in Ahmedabad. So if I send it to my higher authorities or within a group, they people know about it. Once again, if I send it to a person who does not know about it, it should be clear. Your subject line should be self-clarifying. It should clarify all the things, right? So in that sense, subject line is very important when you write an email. Now here the recipients are very important, right? You write the address of the person. Here the address does not mean which bungalow, which area, which city, but here the address means email IDs. When you write an email to me, my address is wasim_qureshi@yahoo.co.in. Capitals and spellings are important. You cannot ignore them, right? Because these are very case sensitive things. So in your email, you write that address just exactly before 2. There will be written 2, and there will be a rectangle in which you have to write the address of the receiver. So wasim_qureshi@yahoo.co.in, right? Then sometimes there is another box with which there will be written CC, sometimes BCC, many times both of them. Sometimes they are hidden, so you click on CC, so it will open that box, and there will be BCC. When you click on it, then another box will be open up. Now what does it mean by CC? When you write an email for the people you are indirectly addressing, right, for the information only. Suppose I want to write an email of MPR to the head office, I'll send it to the head office, right? So 2, and with 2 I will write the email ID of the head office. But at the same time, I just want to make the other branches aware of monthly progressive report, because this time in October 2013 we have done marvelous progress. So let the other branches, right, know what we have done in Paldi branch. So I will keep all the email IDs of the other branches in CC. CC stands for carbon copy, and carbon copy notations we have already discussed in later writing, So along with my head office, other branches of my company will receive the same mail, but it will be in carbon copy. Now I want that nobody would know whom I have sent this mail, and for that I want BCC, The recipients cannot see everyone the email has been sent to. So BCC, that means blind carbon copy. The recipients cannot see everyone the email has been sent to, and BCCs can be in a sense very useful when you hide the person, right, that whom you have sent the emails. But BCCs within an organization can create distrust, so you have to be very transparent in sending emails. Now once again time comes for greetings, and here we have dear sir or sirs, my dear sir, only my dear sir, respected sir, sir, dear madam, ma'am, Masdemus, dear sir or madam, and there are so many greetings which you can use. Dear sir oblique madam is a very formal salutation when you are not sure whether the recipient is a male or a female and they are unknown to you. When you say my dear friend Ramesh, Ramesh is your friend, you know him by his name. When you say dear Dr. JP Shah, so you know him by his name, so you can address that person by his name, right? Only my dear sir, that is a very informal salutation. Respected sir, it can be applicable to all. Sir, only sir, there is nothing respected or dear, that is also very much used and it is also very popular nowadays. So these are different ways of greeting people. These are called salutations. Sometimes in the body of your email you should write the name, the designation, and the name of the company or the name of the institute along with it. So that is also a wonderful thing. Now when you close your email, once again there is a need of citing that complimentary close, and it should match with the greeting. So formally we say sincerely, best regards, cordially, etc. Informal, you can say thanks, all the best, talk to you later. These are informal ways of writing complimentary close. Use a signed line, that is called signature, that gives your name, title and contact information, and you have to prepare it only for one time. Automatically when you send a mail, it will go along with mail whatever you have prepared. So that is also a wonderful facility by almost all the email facility providers. So that is also there. Omit a postscript unless if the email is longer than a screen, a postscript could be missed. Otherwise you can write postscript, PS. Now there are so many tips how you can write effective emails. The very first point is keep emote icons to a minimum. Nowadays young generation, they love to send so many faces and cartoons and this and that. Even in formal writing, when you write a formal email, right, when you want to show that you are very much happy for the promotion, it's better that you don't have that happy face like that, because it's very formal communication. So you have to be very formal, you have to follow certain rules, and that's why it is called formal. So use this kind of emote icons or animations or sketches to a minimum extent. Use spell checking, right? Most email software packages have spell checking, and it can be sent to check each message before sending. Now once again, it's a very authentic legal document, right? If you write something to someone, email is a written communication, it has its own validity, it's a valid communication, and that's why when you write something you have to be very careful for writing. Spellings, they are important. If you have a different spelling, it can create some confusion, some miscommunication, right? And later on it can have a big issue. So spellings are very important. Many of email providers, they also provide us the spell check. Auto spell check is there. So once your spelling is wrong, there would be red underline, and you can click the right button of your mouse. It will give you some options which are very near to that spelling. You can select one of them. If it is not among them, you can have your own spelling, right? And even after writing the entire mail, it's better that you reread that email. Zip attached files. If there are so many files, it's better that you zip. And here zip means you condense them, right? So it can be a big bundle as a small one, and that small one is very easy to carry. It's very easy to open up. It's very easy to process over it. So there are 3 reasons for this. Why do you zip files if they are many? It reduces the file size. So suppose if you have to send me an email, along with your email, if you want to send me some photographs of some of the functions organized in your college. So photographs are bulky in their size. So you can put them in a zip file and then you can send it. Number 2, if multiple attached files, it makes easier to unpack. So unpacking is easy, and once it is easy to unpack, it's very easy to reopen, and the process will be faster. So the size goes down, and that's why it becomes very faster for the process. So you have to zip attached files. Typing in all capitals in electronic communication means nothing special. Typing in all caps is normal. Basically I've seen many people, and I've read even many SMSs on mobile, all letters are kept in capitals. I don't know why. If you write anything in all the capitals, it is not a very good way of communicating. It feels that I feel that you have an idea that it's okay if you don't use if you use all the capitals, it's very easy, it's very normal. But actually it is not. It is very abnormal. It's not very good, right? You feel that it's okay, but actually you are shouting. It's okay to forward this message to others because it is it has come to me, so I can forward it. This message is very important. Sometimes to give importance to a message, basically people keep all the words, all the letters in capitals. Why? Because they feel that each and every word is important. How can it be possible? In a big paragraph there may be one sentence or 2 sentences, or even in those 2 sentences there may be some words which can be important, which can be about to be discussed. So instead of keeping all the sentences and all the words and all the letters in capital, it is better that you focus only on those who are really important. Otherwise the most important words would be ignored because all the words are in capitals. It also looks very rude, right? When you write call me with capital, it is interpreted differently than call me. Capital writing is considered loud, and loud does not mean I'm talking about sound. It's not about cacophony. But when you write, because email is a written communication, when you write something on a piece of paper, when you write a letter, and when you send it to me, when you send me an email, and in that writing paragraph, if somewhere is written call me, CALLME, every letter is capital, it is believed that it's very loud. And loud is a kind of a noise, and noise does not mean here just sound, unwanted sound, but it's a kind of a barrier in communication. It looks very rude, right? So do not capitalize all words unless you really mean it. So mind it, right? Keep it in your mind. Even if you do not have time to fully respond to an email, be sure to let the sender know that you have received it. Acknowledge it. Suppose there is a mail comes to me, in which there are so many things, there are so many questions, right? My boss has asked, Mr. Qureshi, what are the answers of these questions, and these are the things which I have to submit it in report. So if I require some time to collect the answers, to know the answers, but still I have to at least give him a reply mail that, sir, I have received your mail and I have started working on it. As soon as I get all the data, I would come back and I would answer you by mail. So at least the person would be relieved that my message, my mail has reached the person in time. Otherwise, what would happen, that you would take the time, exactly time which is required, and after that, before that, the person who has sent the message or email, that person would be furious and anxious, and he would be in confusion then whether you have got the mail or not. So it's better that if you do not have time to fully answer that mail, at least you acknowledge that, sir, don't worry, I have received your mail and I'll be back after some time or after having this process, and I'll fully respond to you on this mail. Be concise and to the point. Now, once again, if you write a letter, complaint letter about some problem in your area to police commissioner, and if your letter has 10 pages, it's very bulky. In the same way, if you have an email writing, if you write an email and if you send it to me, and if it is a very bulky, it's useless. So you have to keep it very concise and it should be to the point. Yes, you have to make sure that no point should be avoided, no point should be missed out. So all the important issues and points should be there in the main body of mail, but it should not be very long. Answer all the questions, whatever questions are asked, right, in the earlier communication, in the earlier earlier correspondence, you should answer all the questions, so there would be no confusion thereafter. Use proper spelling, grammar and punctuation, right? That is also important. You have to take the spell check, you have to use the dictionary, you have to apply your mind, right? And even the structure of the sentence, you should not, when it is formal communication, you should not write the short forms. Suppose if I want to say thank you very much, right, to my boss, and it's very formal letter, even when I write an email to my students, I do not write THNX. What does it mean? THNX is a new kind of version of thanks. THANKS, right? I will wait for you. So for will become digit 4, and you, YOU, instead of that we use you. But in formal writing, whether it is letter writing, whether it is report writing, message writing, note taking, or even email writing, you should not use that kind of word. I have seen between, many students write BET and N raised to N, and we have to understand that he or she has written between. But when you write it in a very informal letter, it's not a big issue. But when it's a formal letter, when it's formal email, it should be complete in its spelling as well as in its meaning. So you have to take care of spelling, grammar and punctuation. Punctuation is very important, right? Where you have to keep comma, where you want to say what, the full stop, colon, semicolons, hyphen, double inverted commas, single inverted commas. These punctuations create beauty of language. So we should not make our language, we should not make our presentation dull or dirty or ugly. Answer swiftly. As soon as you receive the mail or whenever you read the mail, you have to at least answer, right? If you do not have the full answer, it's better that you at least answer, you acknowledge that I have received the mail, and later on in future, after some time, I'll respond you in detail. But answer should be swift. Do not attach unnecessary files, right? every now and then, this is also a kind of tendency in people, that whether the person is relevant and whether the file is relevant, they just attach the file, because we don't have to spend any rupee. But it can create a lot trouble on the receiver side. The person has to open it, the person has to download it, the person has to read it, and then the person has to discard it, delete it. It takes a long process. So it's better that if the person is relevant and that particular file is important, relevant to that person, then only you have to attach the file along with your mail, otherwise not. Use active voice instead of passive voice. That is also very important, unless the process is given emphasis. Otherwise, it's better that use active voice, that we will send you the detail, I will give you the deadline, I will submit my project by tomorrow, right? This kind of active voice should be there. My project will be submitted tomorrow. Now what does it mean? Instead of I submit my project tomorrow, if you write my project will be submitted tomorrow into brackets by me, that is understood. But when you say I will submit my project tomorrow, the importance goes to I, right? And I take responsibility that I will be there, right, to a particular department, to a particular teacher, and I will submit my assignment, my project tomorrow. But when you come to the second sentence, that is in passive, my project will be submitted tomorrow. So anybody would come, my friend would come tomorrow, and that person will give my submission. So that may be understood in that way also. So it's better that you use active voice instead of passive voice. Use proper structure and layout, right? That structure and layout should be very proper. Do not leave out the message thread. Sometimes there would be query, there would be answer, after that answer there is another query, then another answer. So there is a kind of a thread, there is a kind of a series of interaction or communication between two persons, sender and the receiver. So you should not leave out that message thread. When I receive a mail, I should know what it is about exactly. It should have some link to the earlier mails which I might have sent, or that person might have sent earlier. Read the email before sending it. That is also important. Without reading it completely, you should not respond. Do not overuse reply to all, right? One person has sent the same mail to many other people, but when you have to respond, it's not your duty or responsibility to respond it to all. It is your task to respond to that sender only. So when you click on reply, it will reply to that sender. But when you say reply all, it will send it to all other recipients, right? So that can create a big process. Take care with abbreviations and emotions. When you use abbreviations, as I said, MPR, monthly progressive report, that abbreviation is okay. People can know because I am sending it to persons who know it. Avoid using urgent with capital, bold, and important, urgent and bold, unless they are really urgent and important. And avoid long sentences. If it's a very long sentence, cut it into different parts with complete sense, so it will be better. Don't use email as an excuse of avoid personal contact. Sometimes you can meet the person who is sitting next to you, but you just write a reply to mail. So it should not be for that purpose, right? Abbreviation or acronyms are okay if the receiver knows them. Abbreviation is a short form of something, but acronym is a word, right, which is prepared taking first letter of each word. ASAP is called acronym, and it stands for as soon as possible, right, as you know. So when you use them, you should know that the receiver actually understands it. Summarize long discussions. If it's a very long discussions, you have to summarize them. So it will be a little concise and short and crisp. Leave address blank. If you are furious and if you must answer an email right away, leave the address line blank. Otherwise, if you hit send before you have had a chance to cool down, the email won't go through. So suppose a mail with anger comes to you from your head of the department or from the principal or from your boss, and when you say reply, right, before to, the ID would be there, and then you write, your agonies, your answers, and suddenly if you click on send, it will be sent. So it's better that you leave that space. You write whatever you want to write, then cool down, reread, redraft, and if you feel that it's okay, this is what I want to say, or this is what I want to change, this is what I want to delete, some words which I require to delete them, make it proper, cool down, and then write the address, write that email address. Why netiquettes are there? So the electronic equivalence of a set of fuzzy rules that tell you which fork to use with the salad course. Netiquette does not consist of a set of rigid rules. Now netiquette is equal to net, that is internet, plus etiquettes. So you have to follow certain rules when you work on internet. Now I give you one assignment. How have you felt about this video lecture on email etiquettes? Are you able to write an email to the presenter? Yes. Okay. What are your suggestions for better presentations? Then will you write an email to the presenter? Now how will you write? So you know my email ID. So you have to write one email to me following the language, structure, and the things which we have discussed, and send it to me on wasim_qureshi@yahoo.co.in. So have a nice time. I hope that you have understood and learnt many things about the email etiquettes. So keep smiling, keep learning. Thank you very much.
Sandhan. All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.